past few years, collective research has debunked the popular myths that a high-fiber diet lifestyle can cause unfinished housework, late dinners, and neglected family members. In fact, continuing studies show that a high-fiber diet lifestyle may significantly improve the disposition of a crafter, creating a more contented home life. Furthermore, continued exposure can develop an ability to endure meetings, waiting rooms, school functions, and sporting events without experiencing the kind of boredom it makes one want to consume lead paint. Here are just a few ways one can properly increase daily fiber intake. Visit your local yard store or shop online. Join online fiber communities. Tour sheep or alpaca farms. Attend fiber festivals. Or listen to the High Fiber Diet podcast. Please remember to spread your fiber intake throughout the day rather than trying to get it all in one shot. Stretching and resting is important, and your body will thank you.
Hi, this is Coggietm, and welcome to the High Fiber Diet podcast. It's been a minute, but it is what it is. I'll get into it in a little bit, I think. Hold me to that I explain a little bit as to why I haven't recorded in the last little bit. I think my last confession was almost 2 months ago, but I could be wrong. But I know it's been a minute. So, hi, welcome and welcome back. And I don't normally take this much time off in between episodes, but and I'm fighting with afternoon sun over here that's hitting me. I took off my glasses. Let me see if you can see how that sun's right there. And now I can actually see you, but I don't know if that's blown out or anything. I did put up my ring light, but you know what? We're just going with it. I'm not making any more excuses as to why I'm not recording. And I think I'm a little, let's see, is that better? It is what it is. Hi. Welcome to May. It is what it is, and let's go with it. I think that's going to be the title of this one is, 2026 is just that. So this is a podcast all about knitting and spinning and crochet. I don't know if I have any, my crochet is up here. I haven't touched it. I've got a few finished objects. During stressful times, I sit down and I do what I can. And it's been a stressful couple of months. Sarge is at the other end of the house. I know he hasn't come on like I've told you he will. Life has just been lifing too much. And when life's too much, you just don't fight it. But I will get into some of the things that I have finished. How's that? I finished a pair of opal socks, and this was in opal frosty ice in the colorway crystallized fog, and that would be colorway 11354 in extra large, which is their DK sock. I have that much of a ball left. They are 150 grams. Am I correct? Yes, 150 grams or 320 meters. So there is a nice size ball left that I will probably make up into a square for. I think I'm going to start. I have 15 or 16 of these that I can start making squares for the barn raising quilt blanket. And I think that's all I'm going to do with this. It was being held in my Namaste Bitches bag. Love this bag. It is from Slip Stitch Studios. Still love it. So the socks I did a true afterthought heel with a rolled cuff going into a 1x1. Nothing fancy. a little bit longer than I normally do. And these are fraternal twins, not matching twins. Even when I get matching yarn, which you'll see, they're not 100% guaranteed to match. So might be my knitting style, I'm not sure. But I do the same amount of rows, and they're pretty close, as you can see. But the tip on this one and the tip on that one and the two heels are different. So that is what it is, and they will now go into my rotation. Of course, it's getting too warm for wool socks right now. Probably end of September, early October is when these will get pulled out. And yeah, I knit them on a size US 3 all the way, every bit of it on double points. I am team double point. I do have one on Magic Loop right now, but for the most part, I do double points when it comes to my socks. And so these haven't been washed or blocked or anything. They're fresh off the needles. Sometime last month, might have been the month before, but they've been waiting to be shown. So the afterthought, what I do on mine is I do cut at the halfway point, rip back, open it up, and I will knit 3 to 4 rows before I go into every other row to the point of coming down to the heel. And once I get to a small number, I go to every row of decreases. Finish off with about 8 stitches, 4 on each needle, and then I Kitchener those together. Basically the same thing I do for my toe. I just do on my heel. So these are finished. I'll move things around a little bit over here. The next finished object that I have, I believe I discussed with you last time, and that would be my Stars and Stripes cardigan. And I did finish it off. I did not do the wide stripes like I had. This has been worn many times since I finished. I did end up not doing, sorry for the road noise, it just happens. I did not do stars on the top, but I did find buttons that have stars on them. And so I really like that. And so I got a set of those off Amazon. And I ended up doing everything with a black on the outside for the ribbing. I even did the ribbing in crochet instead of knitting. I normally switch over to knitting. And I really like the way this pattern came out. This is a pattern from, gonna have to put it down. Let me see if I can grab it off and edit just a little bit. Maybe, but I don't recall which pattern I used, but it was like a very plain sweater, and I decided to do the stripes and the color mix and everything like that. So let's see, there it is. I'm calling it my Americana. And it was off of the Everyday Rag Cardigan by MJ Off the Hook. So this is the pattern I did. I did it without pockets because I didn't want pockets on that. Plus, I didn't have enough of the woolies. The red I couldn't get anymore. I think it's been discontinued. That was the, let's see, cranberry? Yeah, 138 cranberry. I only had 3 skeins. Not quite 3 skeins. I had 2.75 skeins of the natural, 3 skeins of the blue, and I used 2.5 skeins of the black, and I used a G and an I hook, an I throughout and the G for the ribbing. And so that is what I got on that. It does come down mid-thigh on me, and I really like that length. I'll just bring up a picture here. And I really like the way it came out. Very happy with it. I've worn it to work. Happy, happy. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is my Salty Days sweater. And this I did out of Coggietm from Knit Picks. And I went by the pattern, but I didn't go by the pattern because I wanted another summer sweater, something that I could throw over a tank top, something to wear down by the beach. So it is very oversized and very airy. And again, this is past the hip length for me. I did add in the length on the bottom. I did not do a roll at the top like it calls for. And I did not do the wide ribbing that it calls for anywhere on the sweater. I did do the ribbing up here. I added a round of the eyelets underneath the ribbing. And then down at the bottom, I added a different look of the ribbing down there. Very happy with it. I have worn it several times. It washes and wears very nicely. This is in the blue reflection colorway, and I used a 10 and a 10.5 needle on this to get it where I wanted to be. I could have held it double, done what it said in the pattern, and had everything to spec that it asked for, but it wasn't what I wanted. I wanted something more airy. I wanted something that I could throw on with a pair of linen pants and a small tank top and go from being at the beach to going out for drinks later in the evening or something. So I am very happy with that. Again, that is the Salty Days sweater by Veronica Lindberg. And I think it's been a staple in most people's knitting these days, or last summer it was really huge. The last thing I have completed lately is just the other day, and I wore it yesterday for the first time. Let me go back so I make sure I have the correct name. It is called the Seven Sisters top. It is by Sloan Lacrosse. I knit this on a size 8 and a size 10 needle, the 8 for the ribbing, the 10 for the body. I did exactly as the pattern said. It's a bottom up knit in the round. When it got to the top, it separated for the front and the back. The only thing I didn't do is the front portion you were supposed to do a little bit high, the same height as the back, and I wanted it more scooped, so I did it to 5 inches instead of the 6.5 that it calls for, and that does give me the little bit extra in the back that goes up some. The sleeves are exactly as they suggest. This is done out of yarn that I bought from the Fiber House here in Grand Haven. I want to say the year we moved to Grand Haven, so that would have been 2002. They went out of business. Well, they moved to Spring Lake, being bought by somebody else, and they went out of business a long time ago, 2010 maybe. And I am very happy with how this came out. In fact, yesterday when I was wearing it, I got a picture of it, and I want to make a second one. And I'm not sure if it's going to show up or not. Right above where that turquoise is, on that side, is a pink and I'm thinking about making it in that color. But this was a cotton alpaca blend. No ball bands left, no nothing. I mean, this is so deep stashed that I remember that it's cotton and alpaca. That's all I can say. And it washes beautifully. I have one skein left of it. I don't know what I'm going to do with that one skein, but it is fabulous yarn. I wish I remembered, and they probably don't make yarn anymore, so I have no idea. It was deep, deep stash. I had originally bought it for a tank top back in the day and decided it was too thick for a tank top, but what did I make? A sleeveless shirt, so a tank top. But yeah, there was that. So, you know, the brain goes where the brain goes. So I have a couple things still on the needle, of course. I will tell you that I have ripped out a ton. I have not touched certain things, like my Getty tee hasn't been touched. My, oh my, what is the name of that one? The V-neck. Utori sweater V-neck has not been touched. My Sherbert circular blanket has not been touched. I have not started my Dumbly shawl, and I want to start that. I have started a few other things. Let's see if I can remember what those are. So in this bag, I have a pair of clog socks going, and these are made out of Sweet Mountain Crafts yarns, and this is in, ooh, do I have it? Yes, I think I do. Maybe. What colorway? No, it's the Valentine's. I think it's, oh, chocolate and strawberries, I think. And it is a red color. The cables on it are nice. They're just called clog socks. I think these are from Summerlee. I'm using my favorite word stitch marker on it. Thank you to Elizabeth for that, because yeah, that's me. But I haven't got more than one leg done, and this is the color with the little sock with it. And I'm just using my US 3s as cable markers. I have it pulled off onto a long needle for magic loop, because I find cabling over a magic loop easier than cabling over DPNs. So that's what I have going with that. So those are my clog socks so far. I have to start the heel on that, so there's a special heel on the pattern that you got to do. And I think that's where I stalled out, because I'm having to do something that I'm not used to on it, and I normally just do my slip stitch heel, and that's that. I have also started in my concentric yarn. This is an alpaca yarn, 4-strand, and I started just a TGV, and this has been some meeting knitting for me, and I haven't gotten very far, but I'm doing it up on a size, what am I using? Size 8. This is worsted weight. The 4 strands come out to a worsted weight, and I'm about that far. It's 100% alpaca, and it's going to change colors as it goes. And this is just in an old Girl Cave bag. So that is that. Let's see, let's go back here to this one. This is my Rugrats bag from Molly Klein Designs. The yarn's up there somewhere. I have finished one sock. I don't recall the name of the sock. I think it's printed out on my desk out front. I'll try to put it down here. But I am doing this out of Cascade Heritage sock. This is their DK weight sock. It has a nice pattern that goes down it. It called for less stitches than what I cast on, and I needed 2 extra stitches, so on the side stitches here I added 1 on both sides. And so that is how that pattern goes. Wow, is that getting blown out? A little better. There we go. Sorry about that. Boo called, so had to take that real quick. She's headed out to the Coach store. They called her, and one of her wants has come in. But again, I think I was talking about these socks, and I think I was finished. The colorway, I'm calling it Mango. I really like it, and I want some more that are about this color. So yeah, I am doing those on size 3 Chiagu needles. So there's that. In my squirrel bag by Stitched by Jessalou, I have my mustache yarn, and this is in the Must Match skeins, 2 identical 50 grand skeins twisted together, sport self-striping, in the colorway Woodstock 50. I picked this up when I turned 50. That was when Woodstock turned 50. So what is that? Almost 7 years ago. Deep stash. I am seriously doing deep stash. I haven't put a heel in. Again, this will be a true afterthought heel, but I have done some undyed yak and silk as the toe. I held that double because this is extremely thin fingering yarn. So holding that double, I'm using, I believe these are size 2 needles, US 2 needles, so 2.75 millimeter. And I have just started the 3rd color. And even though these are must match, and that's what I was talking about before, they're not going to be exact. It's not perfect. It doesn't work out like that. But I am loving the way that they come out. And I did 25 color repeats, or 25 color stripes, and that will get put into one sock, and I will do heels on that, and I am on to the 2nd ball. The 1st ball, however, I still have enough to do something with. I just haven't decided what, but the heels and toes will be done out of the yak. And those are on my standard double points that I prefer. And again, another meeting or car knitting kind of thing. So that goes. In fact, this bag had been in Sarge's car. I think we went on a road trip maybe in January, might have been December. And I haven't knit on them since then. So they've been in the car, and then I picked them up last Tuesday. I had an all-day symposium meeting, and I took this with me to knit on because it was just round and round and round and round and round. So that's what I worked on. I have this, and I think this is, what is the name of this? Hold on, let me crack a, do you have a drink? It is my turn for a drink tonight. And What did I grab? Long drink finish, long drink. It's a gin drink and it is peach flavored, gluten-free. Yep. I'm going to have a little bit of that. So, this one is the Stella Alpina by Mini Me Knit Design. It is going to come out something along the lines of this. And I am actually doing it in white. I am doing it out of Lion Brand. Kolbu, it's bamboo. Not sure. Kabu, Kolbu, something like that. I have my bees on the ends of it. So my queen bee and my worker bee. This is a DK, heavy DK. I am almost to the point of separating for sleeves. Not quite, got about maybe 2 inches more. But this is on a smaller circumference needle and I am working with a size, if these old eyes can adjust, size 6. I think that's a size 6. Let me confirm. I have it written in here. Go back. Oh, I don't have it. And it is Kobu. C-O-B-O-O by Lion Brand. And yeah, that's a US size 5 needle. So I'm hoping to be able to wear that sometime this summer. And I haven't worked on it much. Other things have been on. I tucked this away last summer, so I want to pull it back out. I was influenced by the knitting place, Dina, and I can't think of her name. That's horrible, but I can't, but I watch them, love them. Right now my brain's not there. You guys are probably just shouting it at me, but she wears it all the time and I love how it looks. But this is in my Fates thread. They are no longer, but this is in my Behold the Field in Which I Grow My Fucks, as it is barren. One of my favorite bags. It is my favorite word. It can be used for a million different ways. If you don't like that word, this isn't the podcast for you. Let's just be real with that. It is who I am and it is part of who I am. So yeah, there's that. The last one that's up here is one that I just started. And this is my agave. And I saw a friend, Knit Nerd, wearing this, and she put it up for her Me Made May. And I just went, I need that sweater. And then I talked with my friend Lori, and she said, I need that sweater. And I said, I need that sweater. And so for Mother's Day, we got this sweater. And I am doing it up. If you haven't seen the agave, it is by Yumiko Alexander. I think that's, I can be mispronouncing all of these words, just, you know, deal with it. That's me. But it is this lovely pattern that is very airy. And there's the front of it. And the back also has the agave bloom on it. And that just went away. That didn't help. Let's go back. You know, you hit a button. It's been a while. I'm a little rusty. So that comes up on the back, and you can wear it either way, but I don't know that I'm making it so you can wear it either way. When I saw Knit Nerds, she had this as her front and the other in the back. And I was like, well, how do I do that so it's flat? And I hadn't read the pattern enough, and I answered it myself. But I really like the sleeve. I kind of like this sleeve instead of the flutter sleeve. It's a little bit more down with the agave bloom on it, and I'm kind of liking that. But I also like the flutter sleeve, but I also have extra wave in my hello always. And so I don't know if the flutter sleeve that is the traditional sleeve will just, I don't know. I got to see when I get there, because in looking at some of the projects that are on here, and yeah, I'm showing Ravelry, get over it if you have a problem. Move forward, I should say, not get over it, but that's my mouth and how it goes there. I saw a couple people that did it sleeveless, and I was like, oh, I kind of like that completely without the sleeve, because I've got the extra wave in my hello. However, I've just done 2 sweaters that are sleeveless, so I think I was thinking the flutter sleeve, which is the bigger one, but I kind of really like the one that comes down and then has a little bit of a bell flare at the bottom. And now it's like, so what do I want? And I've got plenty of time to work on which one I want and all of that. I do not have to answer that right now. But I did have to pick out what color I was doing it in. And again, it's another big box. This is Loops and Threads from Michaels. The colorway is Deep Lake, and it is 100% rayon from bamboo. So 100% bamboo. It is a little bit slippery. That's okay. I decided to cast on in the round. So the first big motif that's at the bottom, I am doing only on the front because that's what it asked for, but it is the same amount of rows as the back. So I'm just knitting in stockinette for the back. And I know you know what I'm talking about when I do that. Just ignore me today. It is what it is. But I need to knit once. There we go. Okay, it is there. I was going to say 1 stitch so it doesn't fall off. I am at the beginning of the round, and it is extremely drapey. So there is the beginning of my agave flower, and it is going to be see-through. I'm not going to be wearing it without something underneath it. I'm not worried about that. I don't normally wear my sweaters without something underneath it, a cami or some sort. And so I'm not making any changes right now. The only thing I did was I cast on for the full amount, and I know that that is 4 stitches more than what I need, because I'd take off 1 stitch on each side if I had done it with the seam. And I just didn't want to purl back. I don't have to worry about purling out my rows if I do it this way. I did knit 2 rows flat before I I did not just do that to where, no, everything's gonna flip correctly. Panic City here. Everything's on the right side. Okay. I didn't want to row out, and by doing it completely, I'm not rowing out. And if I need to, depending on how slick this is, when I get to the top, I will drop down 1 size for my purling needle, or I will purl in the back loops, which if you purl through the back loop and you purl the opposite direction. So, you know, in the past, it's always been the long way is the wrong way when it comes to purling. But to do combination knitting, instead of going over, you go under and around. and you purl that way, it shortens your purl just a little bit, and it makes it so that you don't row out when you're doing stockinette flat. If you have a tendency, I never noticed that I had a tendency until 2 sweaters ago, because I don't normally knit bottom up. I normally knit top down, and so I'm working in the round 99% of the time. And with going bottom up on the last couple sweaters, I've noticed that at this point in my knitting, I loosen up a little bit and I row out on my purl rows. And so if I can tighten them up that much, it also, in this sweater, when I did this top ribbing, I did the combination knitting that I'm talking about, and the ribbing looks a lot better than the bottom that I started with. It isn't bad, and if you were to look at me wearing it, you couldn't tell the difference, but I can tell right down here at the bottom they're not as tight as what I did in the sleeves and what I did on the top. So it's just all a learning curve, and I'm always learning, and I hope you are too. So forgive me for the light. I am trying to stay out of the way of that glare, but yeah, it is what it is. So that is that one. That is the agave. So what else do I have down here? I need to move this stack over here. In this box, I have the beginning of my bear gnome. So I have the little arms. I have the beard. Basically got through all of clue 1, started clue 2, and life took over. So I have that much yarn to deal with, and we will see when this gets done. So yeah, this is being done on size 3 needles and size 2 straight needles. So it depends on if I'm working in the round or if I'm knitting back and forth. And that's where I am on the latest knit along that was supposed to be done with everybody else. And I like starting knit alongs. I don't finish them well, so I try not to start too many. Oh, I forgot to put that yarn away. Put it away later. The only other thing I've worked on that I can recall, because it's been a minute, was my hand spun sweater. I only put a couple rows on it. This is just a raglan top down, done on size 11 needles, I think. Let me look. 10.5 needles. And so I am just doing my breed study that I had done and just knitting that up. I have many skeins of breed study to go through, and it will be very, very colorful. And then I have, in that bucket there, some plain rambouillet that I can go ahead and use for the edging on this cardigan. So it's a duster. It's by Knititude. What is the name of that duster? It's out of a book. Yeah, that's about as much as I have right now, because bad podcaster, no cookie. And I lied about the last thing I was working on. I have started. Let me pull this out. Hey, that's the name of that mango sock. It is the basil sock. There you go. Boo got me a bag from Italy. She went over there, spent a couple weeks. Just things I'm pulling out. She also got me this beautiful scarf from Italy and this keychain. It's a magnetic keychain and this gorgeous scarf. Just pulling it out because it was in my bag. There we go. So, she also got me a squirrel. Because you have to have a squirrel from Italy, I guess. And the fleur-de-lis, I believe, is from Florence. That's the main symbol of Florence. And that's where she was for part of it. So I think this is going to get ripped out. But here's the story. I have two nieces from one of my sisters. I have several nieces, but these are the two that I'm talking about. One of them, beginning of March, her teenage daughter found my nephew-in-law. God had called him home. He was 41. She's 38. Or is she turning 39? Somewhere around in there. A couple years younger. And I decided to make her a comfort blanket. And I haven't gotten much done on it. We've done a lot of talking. She finally gave me her colors, which was all pinks. And so I went to the store. She wanted washable. I'm not arguing with her, so I'm doing Bernay. And I'm using a G hook. And so I got 5 skeins. And that is what I am doing for her blanket. And so far, and I kind of put it away because I didn't like it after I started it, I had just started the granny stripe. Since then, I have seen Noble Crafts. Ooh, what is her name? Noble Character Crafts. Noble Character Crafts has been doing a, is it a delphinium, or I forget what kind of flowered square. And I have a bunch of green right over there that I could do for the background and do the colors and give her wildflowers. She used to work in a florist shop. And so I think that would be perfect. And as I was figuring all that out, and I don't know where this bag of stuff is, it's around here somewhere, but my other niece came down with stage 4 endometrial cancer. And we're waiting to hear back about the PET scan and everything else on that. So my sister's 2 daughters are both struggling right now. And that one's favorite colors is purple. And so I went and I picked up 5 colors of purple for her. And I want to get these blankets done. I'm hoping to have them done by the end of June so that I can get them shipped over. One of my niece's birthdays is in June. My other niece has already had her birthday, but I'm going to send it for comfort anyways. And so that is part of the reason why life has been lifing. And I'm not going to use it as an excuse, but I couldn't just sit down and emotionally talk about things in a way that I could be coherent. This gentleman passing just rocked that family's world, and to the point of she was raising his son, and once he passed, there was nothing in the will for her to maintain guardianship. So the mother, who is not you know, he fought to keep the child, and because there was nothing in the will, she had to give back custody. And so not only did she lose her husband, but her son, the teenage daughter that found him, she's graduating high school. And so it is just a huge cluster going on in that family. And then to have the sister, the younger sister by 2 years, come down with stage 4 cancer. Yeah, can you keep them in your prayers? I would appreciate it. If you need names, you can message me and we can talk about that. I'm not going to put it straight out here because I don't know how much they want on the interwebs. And now that that is completely trying to obliterate my face, I'm going to move. Let's see if I go this way. Hey, there we go. Not as bad. Sorry about that. But a couple projects that I no longer have with me, and I'm not sure, I don't think I talked about, but I had to give them as gifts before I could do anything else, you know. I had a set of Goveralls that ended up going out the door for one baby at work. And then I made a second set of Goveralls. And I love Goveralls. I love the pattern. So it's it's on the Go-Veralls, Veralls. But I also did a pair of booties. And these are the Meraki booties by Coggietm. And they are one of my favorite booties to do. And they have the little soles. And unfortunately, I didn't remember to take a felt imprint of the sole. And the lady that made the soles over in England doesn't ship to the United States anymore. So I'm just going to have to figure it out. But these take like a worsted Aran weight yarn. I used Knit Picks Muse hand painted Aran for that, and I was very happy with the way they came out. They have both gone out the door for giving away. And looking at things, I think that's the last thing that I knit or crocheted without talking. The crochet that I have going right now is my Florentine blanket, and I have not done any more on this than what I showed you last time. And it will continue on. I just haven't had the brain power. I did, however, do some acquisitions. So I have both knitting and spinning acquisitions and thoughts. So we're going to go into the knitting first. And I picked up an Eco Wool in this C colorway. And if you look right up there, I think I'm pointing at the right space. There are 4 stacks of Eco Wool in the natural colorway. And I want to do a color work with this in the yoke. And I haven't found exactly the pattern yet. It is a heavy Aran to light bulky. And I want to have that done for fall time. Then I know you're going to hear crinkling. I had 1 skein of this Yarn Bee from Hobby Lobby in the colorway Seraphine C. And it has little pink specks and white and blue, and just, I don't know how it's going to stripe up, But I picked up some Surrey Stratus to go with it. Country Needleworks, one of my local yarn stores, had their anniversary sale, and so I went in. And I figured this Stratus in a denim colorway will go really nicely and help that. And I'm not sure which tee I'm going to do out of it, but I am planning to do a tee out of that. While I was there, I also picked up some gnarly in enough to do a sock out of. I'm not sure what pattern I'm going to do on that. And then I picked up Elder from Queensland, and I had a plan for this. Let me think. There is a shawl that I had planned for this. Just can't think about it right now. But it is a gorgeous chestnut auburn color. And it's called Cinnamon Bark. But I'm not sure if you can tell over here, but I have a whole bunch of the browns and the oranges and the cinnamony cardamom colors. Those are my colors along with the teals and turquoises. So other than that, let me toss these other yarn bees over there, because I have 4 of those. I also saw this really cute garland that was a whole bunch of Christmas lights with an evergreen, like it was just an evergreen I-cord to loop it all together. And so I did the evergreen in the blue sky wool stock. And I picked up the bundle for all of the Christmas colors to go on my wrought iron Christmas tree at Christmas time. I'm going to do the garland up on that. And I'm excited to get that going. That might be a summertime knit because it's something that I can do. And then I wanted something that was just fun. And I don't know what this is going to be, but finding a double pointed needle. I found a whole bunch of this, the same as what that sock yarn was, which is Emma's yarn, Simply Spectacular DK. And I got my 2 favorite colors. Teal's turquoise-ish to baby pink to hot pink. And I have some other hot pinks up here that I could use with it. I'm not sure what this is going to be, but I'm thinking of using these together in, well, hello, Gandalf, in some sort of sweater. I haven't decided on what. You'll hear Sarge in the back doing dishes. Sorry, I'm not going to complain to him. So while I was at Hobby Lobby, I also picked up some leather tags, and these are more for ones that I'm giving away as gifts to non-family members that I can stick on there as tags. So I have that. So that was my knitting portion of the acquisitions. I have a few others out there, but I don't believe I have talked to you about these. This is from Swedish Wool, and my friend over in Sweden, she's originally an American and she lives over in Sweden, and I saw that she had sampler packs, and so I asked her to put together a couple for me. This is carded roving, and I have both washed and unwashed. And I will have to look up what the names of these are and what type of sheep they are. And let's see, this one is lightly washed locks, and it just says finial lamb. And that's those three. And then we have larger Dala Paz. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that. 20 grams. I'm not opening these. These are unwashed, I believe. No, it says carded, so I think they might be washed. This is good. This is Clavisico or Clavisico, not sure. I am murdering all this, and I will admit to murdering it, but. And then this is black, 20 grams of black. And the last one is I believe these are all the wash. And in this other bag, over here, this is some of her wool that she sent me a long time ago. These are breed samples and breed samples, 5 by 20 grams. I'm going to open one because I think these are the unwashed. Lightly washed. So the same kind of things going on there. And so I'll be able to spin these without having to do much processing, and that's fine. But I have a whole bunch, and so I'm going to be doing a deep dive into these breed studies. And these are all undyed. This is the second one. And I think it's the same breeds as that other one. So if I spin it the same way, I can then ply it. Yep, they're the same. And so I have 2 bags of the same and 1 bag of difference and a few others that she threw in for samples. And so I'm excited to get that going when I can sit down at my spinning wheel. And I do enjoy the way that she packages things, so it's all biodegradable. And I like that. And I have a cat in the room, and you know cats in bags, they're gonna climb into the bag. So what's been going on with me other than my nieces? I decided at the end of March, it was time for me to move on from my job. It was a hard decision. Sarge and I did a lot of talking. And it came down to the point where I had to make some hard decisions that I can't go into here, but I don't have another job lined up. I am in process of getting everything together to start my own HR consulting. I have some leads for some contacts, but I'm also looking for a part-time job like payroll or compliance or something along like that that is either hybrid or remote that I can do from home. Hybrid, of course, being in the office. I've had a couple interviews. We'll see how those go. I haven't heard anything back. Not good, not bad. I mean, I had one today. I didn't expect to hear back today. So I put in my resignation on March 31st and went to talk to the owners on the 1st. And as I was walking in, they were walking out. They took a week's vacation. I wasn't even in on the know that they were leaving on vacation. And for somebody who reports directly to them, it was kind of instilling that the decision was correct. I did give them a month's notice, so I didn't leave the company until April 30th. And it was basically during the last week that I was there that I was teaching somebody else to do the portions of the job that didn't go along with my degree. And I haven't heard from him since, and we'll just see how it goes. But at this point in time, there was a lot of soul searching. I'm scared to death. I know that it's, we prayed over it. We talked about it. We did everything we were supposed to do. We're not hurting, but, it puts a pinch when, one of the incomes goes away. And I am looking for work, and I will be getting work, but right now that's my focus instead of the knitting. And that's why certain things have been knit on, certain other things, if it takes too much of my brain power, it isn't happening right now. I also had to do a lot of soul searching on all of this, and I love my yarn stash, and I love being able to knit from it. And I have so many deep stashes that since organizing it like this, I can go, yes, I want to knit with that. And I'm not buying as much as I used to, but occasionally you want something new. And it may seem like I've gone overboard, but really the amount of knitting time I have right now, it has gone up. I'm going to be taking some classes. We are looking into me going back to school for my master's. And the master's that I will be seeking, if that comes out, will be in employment law. It will be a non-practicing lawyer, so I won't be looking at passing the bar, but I will be looking at employment law that I can use in consulting terms to be able to talk with businesses about. And I mean, I'm already pretty good at that. I just don't have the letters behind my name at this point in time. And there are times that those letters come into being needed, I guess is the words I'd use. But I look at some of this yarn that I have in my stash, and it's like, I will never knit that. So I am thinking about destashing some that I won't be using and putting in space for things that I am going to be using. I don't know what yet. I haven't decided. Right now I'm just kind of ruminating on everything. And I am hoping to pull out my spinning wheel a little bit more than I have been able to during the classes that I'm taking right now. Part of the classes is just to take a class to make sure I know what consulting is. Setting up my LLC, setting up my business account, setting up everything to where I'm legal to give the advice that I need to give to somebody else, and I'm protected. And I want to ensure that my household is protected. And so I have to watch, what I'm doing and what I'm saying, but I also need to be able to sit down and take these classes and confirm that I'm doing it correctly. Or at least that's the way I go about things, or try to. I may jump at certain things, but me leaving this company has been in process probably 7 months now. So it was just, things happened that were the catalyst and the straw, and that's when I was done. I have not had a chance to update my book, and I will be getting to that before my next podcast to be able to get my book updated with all of my new products or new finished products. I have pictures of everything on my phone, but I don't have them pulled off and ready to go yet. That's something else I want to work as you can tell, my background has changed. The computer went back to the company. I have my computer over here now, and I'm just trying to get things to where I can function. And you know, when things like this come up, your confidence goes down a little bit. And I won't say I have an ego. I will say I'm good at what I do. And there were times that I had to look at myself, and I had to talk to my friend that is in my knitting group, that she's another HR, and she's like, they beat you down. They just, she's a really sweet lady. And she's like, I can't believe you held on that long. And that I even gave them 30 days. And to me, that was, at the level I was at, I needed to give 30 days to ensure that the company, I was setting up the people there for success. And yeah, I'm not going to sit here and harp on it, but those are the reasons I was not doing much podcasting. I really haven't been on Instagram all that much. I have pulled back quite a bit from Telegram. There were a couple people that I found out that I thought were my friends, and that again is a confidence kicker, that come to find out they were placing bets on whether I'd keep my job when I was out in South Dakota, or how long I would last, or just things. And I'm like, if you're somebody's friend, why would you do that? It just blows my mind. I may think of friendship different. And so I'm not taking it personally. That's not on me, that's on them. But it isn't something I need in my life anymore. And so I've decided that I had to step away from some things, not because of the groups I was in, but because of who was in the groups that I was in. And so I'm a very honest person. And if you ask me a question, you're going to get an answer. And if you don't like that answer, ask somebody else, because I'm not going to change my mind. I'm not saying I don't ever grow and I don't ever change my mind, but in that instance, on certain things, be a nice person. It doesn't take any more energy to be nice than it does to be mean. And unless you're killing kittens, I don't need to be mean to you. There's certain lines I don't cross, but I'm going to save the cat before I get mad at you. I just don't have to put up with you in my life anymore, if that's what happens. And I hope you feel the same way. But as you can tell, it's been a while since I've talked this much, so my voice is kind of scratchy. But yeah, I don't even know how to get out of here anymore. Like and subscribe if you want to hear more. Come back and visit me, see what I'm working on. I hope to be back now that I'm not working right now, maybe every 2 weeks if I can. I'm gonna try and talk Sarge into coming on like I have been promising. He's been having some health issues, so we'll see how that goes. But I guess until next time, check your checkbook before starting a high fiber diet. Bye-bye.